You guys know I always do my best to be honest with you all. I think transparency in every sense of the word is the best way to build a community. So it's with a heavy heart I regret to inform you, I've been lost to the dark side. I have been having way too much fun with Fortnite lately.
F***ing Deadpool. Hang on, wait, let's default on his ass.
Hold on, wait. Alright, 3. He just left.
He literally KMS'd.
Now don't get me wrong, I'm not about to become a Fortnite apologist, I just have fun with this one on late nights with friends. It's a perfectly functioning game to relax with and unwind from a tough day. It has the luxury of total crossplay, so not only can I play with my best friends, but also people I don't always get to play games with because of the systems they frequent. Everyone can hop on and hang out for a while, like my brother who is terminally addicted to Destiny 2, he can take a break and come hit this default with us. And even Kelly can get in on a dub or two.
Get him, Kelly.
Don't misunderstand me though, Fortnite deserves the backlash that it gets as well. It has normalized the oversaturation of microtransactions in not only free-to-play games, but fully priced AAA extravaganzas that don't have any excuse for this crap. These things are a lot easier to swallow for a free-to-play game because if you have the self-restraint, you can totally put hundreds of hours into the game and not spend a dime. But if you're like me and feel peer pressure breathing down your back, you have the option to spend some of your real-life resources on a little swag. Keep in mind I've only ever casually played Street Fighter, but who wouldn't love Blanca in a suit? Fortnite has surpassed even Smash Ultimate as being the most ridiculous crossover in video game history.
Oh my god, it's Master Chief versus the Predator! Oh my god, Doctor Strange! Oh my god, it's Rick!
That's Star Fox?
Yo, furries. Doctor Strange!
Not Doctor Strange?
Oh my god, it's Spider-Man.
Spidey!
Is that Katana from Mortal Kombat?
Oh my god, it's Chun-Li!
Oh my god, it's Iron Man! Keanu Reeves!
Holy shit! John Cena!
It's Carnage.
Oh, I'm dead.
Tom Holland's Nathan Drake. Oh, there's Doctor Strange! Default Fortnite skin.
But this also works in favor of keeping the game fresh. Fortnite is always pulling these events that add new weapons or items that can change how you play. I'm personally in love with the grapple glove for obvious reasons, and if you tell me we can go find Darth Vader on the map, absolutely wreck him and his stormtroopers so we can run around with his lightsaber to cause havoc, I'm 100% about to hop on that game. Or how about them doing an entire event centered around Dragon Ball Z? Being able to make our favorite hardened Saiyan warriors do silly Fortnite dances is one of the funniest things to me. And the cherry on top is the Kamiya Mama mythic item. This thing absolutely obliterates everything, and it's definitely terrifying when you just hear the distant screams of Grandma Goku charging up. You have me at hello with these ridiculous events. Fortnite isn't going anywhere, that much is very clear. The community has its diehard fans on the hardcore side and probably an even more sizable casual side. But Battle Royales don't stop with Fortnite. They keep popping up even today, and to some, games are considered dead on arrival if it doesn't launch with such a mode. They're everywhere you turn these days. The market is becoming oversaturated with Battle Royale focused games. And this has me curious. These games keep coming and coming, but very few seem to stick. And my hunch is because they're everywhere you look. Everyone has played the game mode where you run around with 100 other players and look for stuff and then kill each other until the big letters pop up on your screen. New Battle Royale games need more than this to stay relevant for more than a year these days. Personally, I can have fun with these things, but they're not my favorite thing to play. You guys know me, I love my single player action games where the goal is to rack up the combo counter and toss your opponent to the mud as embarrassingly as possible. So what if there was a Battle Royale game where action game principles were brought into the fold instead of the millionth one about shooting guns?
Oh yes!
Hell yeah! Okay, sick-ass transition aside, this is one that I heard about on TikTok and only gave it a shot when it came to PC Game Pass. Naraka Bladepoint is a battle royale where you'll clash bladed weapons with players instead of trading gunfire. The usual trappings of a shrinking circle that constricts the play area are still here, scavenging for better weapons, health replenishing fruit and powder to restore the quality of armor, so the foundation is recognizably a battle royale. Only there are a few things that make it more interesting to someone with my particular interests. Instead of poking other players with bullets, Naraka sees players scavenging for their favorite type of martial arts weapons. Katanas, nunchucks, spears, dual swords, each of these weapons have horizontal and vertical attack combos that can be executed with different buttons. Either attack string can charge one powerful strike as well, and there's also a counter that you can pull off by timing it right before an enemy connects with you. It's very satisfying. But long-range options aren't completely out of the question either. There is a healthy selection of them. The repeater crossbow might satiate anyone who's immediately put off by the lack of any guns, and for good reason too. It's one of my favorites. And then there's the other best thing about this game, the traversal. One thing that severely limits my enjoyment of not just battle royale games, but any multiplayer setting, is how limited your movement options are. If all you can do is run from one destination to the next, then I'm falling asleep. But Naraka has some pretty basic parkour mechanics to utilize, allowing players to wall run and climb structures to their heart's content. This is made even more entertaining by the grappling hook. Zipping to the tops of buildings for a quick vantage point just gives me the feelies, and being able to hook onto enemies for some quick hits is the cherry on top. But there are a few things that keep Naraka out of my must-play list. For starters, as cool as the combat is to see in a massive multiplayer setting like this, it feels extremely sloppy. There's no manual lock-on available, which makes sense. Your screen would look like this with how fast the characters can move around each other, but it doesn't seem like there's proper invisible lock-on either. The type of gradual move assist that you'd see in other similar systems that help the player character stay connected to enemies during a combo. There's some semblance of this, but duels can feel like frantic button mashing challenges from time to time, with no real time or spatial reasoning to cleverly outmaneuver your opponents. It doesn't feel like the game is set up to host these duels of skill. It's tough to tell what combo strings you can interrupt with a counter if you know the movesets. These maneuvers do still feel great to successfully hit. Timing charged attacks deals a great chunk of damage, and when it works, the counter is immensely satisfying. The game is similar enough to Fortnite to draw in the average Fortniter, but most importantly, this game has Big Booba. But in reality, the sad truth is that the mass audiences aren't going to latch onto a battle royale game like this. I don't know of any concrete numbers myself, but I can tell that I find mostly bots in these matches. It's great for making sure I win nearly every match I play, but I'm not sure that's a good sign for the game's longevity. And if I had to guess, one of the main reasons for the game's dwindling player base is that this is one of the only battle royale games on the market that you actually have to pay for. Yeah, Naraka Bladepoint isn't free to play, it costs 20 bucks on Steam. I didn't initially pay a penny to play because of it being on Game Pass, and it does go on sale often, but it's a tough sell to have an entry fee when all of your competition have been rocking the free-to-play model for a while now. Naraka is a fun game, and I caught it on sale and bought it so I could play it when I get the urge, but I think it's too different for the general audience to fall in love with. And most detrimentally, it costs more than $0. Thus, it's fighting an uphill battle already. But how about something that's kinda similar to Naraka, but not quite as serious? How about a battle royale that takes place in a city full of ridiculously proportioned bodybuilders who KO each other with wrestling moves? This is Rumbleverse. Iron Galaxy, best known for their work as a porting house for other teams' projects, as well as the Killer Instinct reboot of all things, have created a free-to-play grappling and melee-focused brawler royale. The first thing that grabs your attention with this one is how it really seizes your attention. The characters and environments are all cartoonishly over the top. The colorful Grappital City is home to this clash of muscles and spandex. The slightly toned down number of 40 participants are shot by cannon at the city with the same goal: grab yourself the best loot you can find. But there are a handful of unique things to set Rumbleverse apart. Each player has 10 slots to increase their base stats. 3 different types of muscle milk or protein powder are scattered all over the place. The red bottles increase your attack power, the yellow ones increase stamina, and the green ones increase maximum health. You can seek out and only consume one type of drink to make a glass cannon or a weak as hell tank, but I personally just drink whatever I can find. All of these quirky little touches contribute to how zany the game is. It just makes for a charming yet competitive game. On top of these stat protein powders, we have books that contain special moves. They come in 3 different levels of power and you can only equip 2 at a time. It'll be things like a fast flurry of sumo slaps, a javelin tackle, or a good old volleyball spike. These are the moves that are going to be doing the most amounts of damage, but there is also a base moveset each character has from the start. Everyone can execute a quick 3-hit combo, a dash can be used to sprint around the battlefield quickly, dodge in the middle of a fight, or execute a drop kick by pressing the attack button afterwards. Basic attacks can be blocked and then countered, but a full 3-hit combo will catch an enemy who tries to only dodge. A basic grab can be executed on an enemy if they're blocking, but a dodge can get around a grab. And an enemy trying to grab someone who's in the middle of a combo will be hit. There's a lot of rock, paper, scissors going on with the moveset, but it makes for some entertaining mind games when you learn the ropes. A pile driver can be used by attacking in the air, but it will gain significant power if you can fall a longer than normal distance during the move. This is actually the case for every move where you can get the literal drop on the enemy. Tackling or hitting someone will cause far more damage if you can use verticality to punctuate it. This is made easier by the wonderful addition to climb on anything. By expending stamina, characters can also effortlessly scale buildings. This makes for great vantage points in marking your next target or putting some oomph into your next attack. And finally, spread throughout the city are these little floating stars. Collecting these will fill the superstar meter, and when it's full, the player has a choice. Choosing to save the meter will reassure you that you'll be immediately revived if your health reaches 0, or you can activate this mode for a quick boost of regenerating health and a major upgrade to your standard grapple move. If you can land a grab on an enemy while in superstar mode, the damage is massive, and if you can bounce off anything while coming back down, it's almost a guaranteed KO. Rumbleverse is super fun. The move assist issues that made Naraka feel sloppy are thankfully ironed out here. When attacks of all kinds feel reliable to execute, it leads to players enjoying what they play while they learn how to improve. They then feel the dedication to learning the systems for sake of improvement as less of a chore. It's fun to see how others play and then see about mimicking those techniques yourself, like positioning your attacks to use cars and other bouncy objects in the environment for extra damage upon impact. It's immensely satisfying. The playing field is consistently fair too. Battles are only ever one-sided if one player is significantly less skilled than the other. If you feel yourself losing, there's no shame in turning tail and finding healing items to fight another day. But you have to know the city well to lose someone if they're particularly adamant. It's not uncommon to hunt someone down if you can sense they're running away out of fear. No, wait. Not to mention, with both this game and Naraka, the fear of just being sniped out of nowhere is next to non-existent. Aside from some surprise pile drivers here and there, one-hit kill scenarios just don't really happen. You can get ambushed, but you can always turn it around. The only one-hit kills are grabs from Superstar mode, guys, and they literally glow and sparkle. The most frustrating thing about winning matches are the players who hide at the tops of the map when there are only 3 or 4 people left, waiting for the second to last person to get knocked out, then they see it fit to jump down and flick them to the side. But, I mean, this is nothing new to the genre, just like kids getting mad at the game is nothing new.
Trash can.
These two are really my favorite kinds of Battle Royale to play by myself. They feel like the kind of game that I can really see myself improving at, and of course, we all know the kind of game that I like playing anyways. This is just my thing. And there's still an inherent silliness to these games. Yes, I'd even say Naraka has some silliness in it.
Yes, they're real. Every soul in this blade.
But I've only talked about the 2 outliers for this genre of games. Rumbleverse and Naraka are probably 2 of the least talked about Battle Royale games around, and the reason why is easy to pinpoint. It's because they're not shooters. Shooters, especially first-person shooters, are easily the most popular type of game in the world. Games like Call of Duty and Halo have absolutely skyrocketed the genre to mainstream levels of success. And it's no coincidence that shooters are the leader in the world of Battle Royales. I mean, I know it's easy to clown on Fortnite, but it's also the easiest to just pick up and have a good time.
Oh. Holy shit, no way! Holy shit!
No.
Even in the zero build mode, which is the only one that I really play, there are several other weapons and items to have a good time with. Again, a grappling hook that's great for getting around the map, a vast array of sniper rifles, guns that you feel like you are the only one on your team who understands how to use them correctly. Darth Vader's lightsaber again, it can deflect gunfire and can even be thrown. It's just so much fun. And need I mention the Kamehameha again. These wacky items and weapons just make it fun to hop in. You don't even have to really be actively hunting the victory to have a good time. There are so many little things to do all over the map that it's just fun to goof off in most matches. But you know what game I can't say that for? Apex Legends. Look, if you like Apex, and I have several friends that do, looking at you, Mike, I hope you all live a long and fulfilling life, but I tried to play for about 2 hours the other day, and I probably got about 2 kills. Apex is one of those games that has been swallowed so wholly and completely by the meta of its player base that any casuals, such as myself, who want to just try and jump in get perpetually shit on. And this doubly sucks for me because I love Titanfall 2, Respawn's previous game and what Apex was essentially built from. That game can get pretty competitive, sure, I'm not denying that, but it can still at least be enjoyed by newcomers. Apex isn't going anywhere as it stands due to such a loyal player base that could drink sweat in a glass like it's a chug jug, but to me, this kind of strict and overly punishing gameplay really turns off passerbys from just keeping it installed over something else. Apex has things that are neat about it though. Of course, I love its selection of weapons and the sound design because they're very similar to the ones seen in Titanfall 2. Its legends provide some variety with all their abilities, although it's very easy to see that there is a meta where players are quick to choose only 2 or 3, and I dig the way it looks. Apex has a colorful art style that does attract me. It's not a boring game, don't misunderstand me. It's no PUBG. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was one of the very first Battle Royale games to pop up when the genre was first taking over. This game and Fortnite were inescapable back in 2018, but the thing is, one of these games kept changing things and adding new content at a consistent pace, while the other just kind of didn't. PUBG is so boring. You take the aspects of battle royales that people would rather do without and put them all together, you get PUBG. The walking forever without finding anyone, the randomly getting shot down out of nowhere from an enemy you can't see, the whole being rewarded greatly by sitting put the entire match. Yeah, PUBG is still the king at all of these things. First of all, the map. It's so featureless and boring. I get that it's supposed to be realistic, but there are other games that have a little bit of color or a little bit of verticality. I see the costumes you have in the game. You're obviously not afraid to have a little bit of fun. Getting around this boring map is also such a drag. Other games have so many options for interesting traversal nowadays that this type of thing seems absolutely obsolete and cheap. I mean, Warzone isn't all that different on the surface. A more realistic take on the concept of 100 players dropping down on an island, but the benefit Warzone has is that it was built from an already fun game. Well, that and the money Call of Duty is set to bring in every year with its dedicated yearly releases. Oh, and the handful of miscellaneous studios they have in the Call of Duty mines just working away. It's easy to see why Warzone isn't going anywhere anytime soon, and I say that like it's a bad thing, but at least I had fun with Warzone. The inclusion of the Gulag is an exciting way to give players another chance to turn a match around. The new map they have is a little strange. I like Verdansk a little bit better, but it's still far more interesting than anything PUBG has to offer, and it was very nice to see that all of my old guns are still great picks. I'm very glad to see that Modern Warfare 2019's groundwork still makes for a fun time, but I honestly don't know what's keeping PUBG afloat. Games have to do better to stay competitive in this genre today. Like, just move over to a whole other piece of hardware for starters. There are a few VR battle royales out there today, but none have really found a footing due to VR's limited player base. There was one that I was really eager to try out in 2020 called Virtual Battlegrounds, and after booting it up just to see that I was literally the only player on the game at that time,
this game is dead.
It's just kind of sad that it's abandoned so quickly. Which is a real shame because it's not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. The other one I tried was called Standout, and it's kind of funny, they're basically the same game down to them both using apples as health pickups, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same model that's readily available on some asset store, but Standout actually had a few people online. Most of them were very nice and invited me to a Discord server. It's a fun game simply because I'm a sucker for some VR, but I'm not blind enough to see that it's just PUBG in VR, which is pretty deductive, but it fits. The gunplay is fun and feels good. I was skilled enough to bring a knife to a gunfight and actually win in one instance.
Yes!
It's more interesting to keep an eye on your surroundings in VR, and when you fail, it's all the more scary.
Yeah!
Plus, both of these games cost money to play. They're both essentially indie devs too, so I'm not saying it isn't justified, but when you look at what the competition is offering for free and don't require a giant headset, you can see why VR isn't a Battle Royale hotspot just yet. But that also doesn't mean that having Battle Royales on the most common device in the world isn't a surefire way to success either. There are plenty of these types of games on the App Store. Some are interesting to open up, but not necessities. The perspective is neat on one or two of them, but I was most interested to try out Final Fantasy VII The First Soldier. And it's not great, but it's also not bad. This is one of those that I wish with all my heart that they would just port to consoles and PC. There's enough depth here to actually sell if they gave a shit to actually put the work in. Because the thing that's holding this one back is the platform it's on. I tried to play it on an Android emulator, but it wasn't compatible with my computer. And then the next best thing was using my PS5 controller, but the button layouts were mapped in really weird ways. I did manage though. Finding materia and utilizing their effects is fun. Finding AI controlled enemies and defeating them for big rewards is pretty neat. There's melee attacks as well as gunplay. Characters can parkour up buildings and ledges. Each Final Fantasy class is selectable and they each have their own special abilities. The monk can do this protective shield thing, the warrior can do this dash, and the dragoon was probably my favorite. He can jump really high into the air, and then if you press the jump button twice, he can glide across the map. It's pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Plus, it's got the free word on the page. With how many options players have at their disposal, I could see myself playing this one for hours with legitimate accommodations. I would buy a cloud skin if I could play this on something that has a proper control scheme and doesn't stutter like crazy every time I hit someone. While it's easier for some games to flaunt the majestic free on their store page, it doesn't always guarantee success. I mean, just take a look at one of the most unfortunate casualties of this genre's cutthroat nature. Spellbreak is such a cool concept for a battle royale. It's still mostly about shooting, so it's got that crowd. The art style is pretty to look at, traversal can be a hoot, and most of all, it's about wizards. A bunch of battle mages all drop off the battle mage battle bus and start the usual BR game loop. But instead of a red dot sight or an uncommon shotgun, you pick up elemental gauntlets. Throwing giant rocks as other players create walls of fire. Watching all of these elements collide is so cool, and it actually takes a fair amount of skill to be good at, but it's not hard to just hop in and have a good time. But if all of that's true, tell me why the game is shutting down in a few months. The other day when I played a few rounds for this video, I had to wait nearly 7 minutes for a match to start up, and even then you could tell that quite a few of these players were bots. It's really upsetting to see this happen to a team that really tried to make something legitimately cool in the Battle Royale space. Because the sad reality is, this is what happens to most of the games that come in to oppose Fortnite or Apex or Warzone. And while 2 of them are alright to me personally, I don't think they're really breaking any new ground with what they're doing. It might be kinda unfair to say that about Fortnite, but as far as gameplay, it's still a third-person shooter at its core. And again, I still do have dumb fun with the game, but I am also interested in playing new games with my friends. And since the name Battle Royale dominates the multiplayer space right now, I'd like to have some of these new games at least be interesting. So to finally answer the big question of the video, I think it should be obvious. They don't go anywhere. The big 3 will continue to dominate for the foreseeable future with more and more casualties, with Naraka and Rumbleverse probably up next for termination. So yeah, they don't go anywhere. Without you. Games can only make money if players play them, so if there's a game, doesn't even have to be a battle royale, that you like and you want to see grow, then you have to spread the word, my dude. Tell people about it, post clips on the internet. It shouldn't be up to us completely to advertise games for these indie companies, but every little bit helps. And when it's their livelihood, how can you not just want to take the time to give them a shout out? Or even just playing the game helps. Of course, I would love to see new and fresh concepts get turned into battle royales. You could take just about any game that you love and say, oh dude, wouldn't this be sick if this was a battle royale? Oh, hey dude, this would make for a sick battle royale. I would love to see a platform fighter somehow get turned into one. I'd love to see a Souls-like get turned into one. I'd love to see an RTS Battle Royale. I have no earthly idea how they would be made or how they would be balanced, but stranger things have happened, no? I mean, Rumbleverse is essentially what a modern-day Power Stone would be in a multiplayer setting, and Naraka is just about any weapon-focused melee game combat system but in a Battle Royale. And hopefully those two will stick around, and I really hope they do, but there are plenty of other concepts out there, and maybe VR will even find itself a killer BR someday. But until that day, make sure to play the games you think are worth the time, and spread the word where you can. It might not seem like much, but it is. And you might even help keep your favorite Battle Royale coming back for another victory. But anyway, I appreciate you for watching. So thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.